Vivek, I have this question of you, and I'm sure the fellow listeners will be very keen to know. You, in your role as a group CFO of Orix, you have a lending business, leasing business, and lending business, and obviously you have the mobility business, etc. Tell us about. I have 2 or 3 different questions that you can choose to delve into. One, how do you manage the ecosystem, right? Because there is an ecosystem which is dependent on you as a company. You know, we all been talking about us. How is our company, our entity being impacted, and what are we doing? But we are also dealing in your business in particular. You are actually impacting through Orix life of so many employees. You know, the drivers who drive cars, etc., etc., etc. Right? Tell us more about, from a cultural standpoint, how have you pivoted the organization pivoting directly in managing that? B, purely from the way you see this entire piece of digitization, I do understand it is not very easy for every organization to digitize, right? Work from home is being touted so much, but it's not very, very easy to be done. How have you gone, right? Or Orix as an organization gone around really managing this change in behavior, cultural change in the organization? And was it challenging? And how do you see this really, really develop over the next couple of months and couple of years to come forward?
Sure. Thanks, Bhavesh. So, Orix as a company is actually a combination of very, very varied kind of businesses. And it is the same thing that we do worldwide. So if you look at the kind of businesses that Orix does worldwide, they are absolutely varied. So we also run a golf course, we also run an airport, we also have a bank, we also have a mutual fund company, etc., etc. It is very similar for us here in India. So we, so we are the largest car rental company in India. We are the second largest employee transportation company in India. We are also the largest leasing company in India, and we also run a lending business. So on the first question that you raised, Bhavesh, so yes, there is a very clear differentiation between the kind of businesses that we run and the kind of clients and the kind of employees that we have. And actually that is a cultural fit that we have been able to create over the past, so now Orix has been in India for the past 25 years. We have been doing car rental for over 20 years. And we have been doing leasing, So the leasing business is more like a corporate banking business. Then the lending business is more like a retail lending business. And then the car rental employee transportation business is more like a logistics business. So from the standpoint of the policies, from the standpoint of the people, obviously the policies are similar for all the 3 businesses. But there is, there is a very clear demarcation in terms of the people that work and the kind of skill sets that people have. And hence, from the point of view of the hiring and from the point of view of the compensation and stuff, you will find a very clear differentiation. What has happened to us during the pandemic is that, so the least impacted business for us is the leasing business, because after the first couple of months, now the people have started buying cars. So that business is not impacted. We deal with the, so we deal with the very large B2B clients. We are then not facing any kind of the NPA issues also there. After that, the business getting impacted is the retail lending business. That is both on the NPA side as well as on the sourcing side. Also one of, and also one of the larger factor is the liquidity in that business. And I will just talk about liquidity in a bit. And then the business of the transportation that is largely depending upon people traveling or people going to office, that has been impacted also badly. So yes, all the 3 businesses have been impacted with varied kind of scales. In terms of challenges, there are a few challenges which are common to the 3 businesses that we run. So the challenge on liquidity or the challenge on the cost base being very high for the revenue structures that we have now is high. So that is a common challenge across the businesses. The challenge on the NPAs are more on the retail lending businesses. We don't have that challenges either on the transportation or on the leasing business. So as a package, I would say that the top 2-3 challenges that all companies in the industry are facing, which is to do with liquidity, which is to do with NPAs, and which is to do with the revenue growth, all our businesses in some shape and form have gotten impacted with that. The point that I would like to make here also is that when you are running when you are running a conglomerate that has varied kind of businesses, it is also an advantage in these times, because some of the companies that were in a unilateral kind of business are in slightly bigger trouble than we are, because for us, at least 50% of the business is actually not impacted. So that is at least one big thing that has happened for us, that while we run 5 businesses, so some of the businesses have got impacted, some of the businesses have actually not got impacted. On the margin, we can say that we are doing fine and we'll be able to survive this pandemic. On the people front, that is, and we are a very, very people friendly organization, and all the steps that we have taken in the past 7, 8, 10 years has been on those lines also. Such kind of the unforeseen circumstances has posed some challenges, and we had to take some actions on that account. That was obviously the last resort. We had done, so we had taken a lot of actions in terms of the vendor, at least in terms of the vendor renegotiations, in terms of the rental renegotiations, in terms of giving away the real estate that everybody else has done. We have taken a lot of steps on the liquidity side and have tried to bring down the cost of liquidity or the cost of funds at a substantial pace. And also thanks to the shareholder, and also thanks to a AAA rating that we have, that has not been a challenge for us. People has been a sensitive subject. We had taken some action, but those have been brought to the minimal level that we could. One of the learnings that has come, and I think, and at least I always go, and I always keep on going back to what happened in 2008 or what happened in 2013, and somebody touched upon that also, is that I think one of the mistakes that we realize as an organization, all of us commit, is that all of us are ready for growth. All of us are building infrastructure. So all of us build teams, infrastructure, processes for growth. What we are not ready for is failure, or what we are not ready for is a slowdown. And that is what has hit us. And that is what has hit, I think, most of the companies that I talk to. That is one of the largest factors that has actually impacted them. That we were all building for, that we have an economy that is growing at 7%, 8%, 9%, pick a number. And so hence I will be able to deliver a revenue growth of 10%, 12%. Hence I will be able to capacitize my people, assets, fixed assets, etc. on the basis of that growth rate. Nobody expected this. This is obviously an extreme kind of situation. But what this tells us now, and I think it is the same thing that taught the financial services way back in 2008 also, at the time when the subprime crisis happened, is that there has to be a backup plan. There has to be a plan B that is not only to do with growth, that is also to do with the lack of growth. And that is one point that I think, that is a very big learning from our standpoint. From the standpoint, on the point 2 that you actually raised from the standpoint of the work from home, etc., I think so the work from seamlessly happened for us. Almost 70 to 80% of our people who had to work from home were able to work from home. So, so the teams in the back office were able to get the connectivity. The teams who did not have the customer facing roles in the first couple of months, so they were able to work from home. Again, the critical point is that all the back office kind of work can happen, but when you are into, but when you are also into, say, a retail lending kind of a space, where the customer interaction becomes very important. Till the time you actually go and meet the customer, so the underwriting processes had to be altered a lot. So all those things were done. So some part of work from home for the back office people, and from, and for some of the other functions was happening. In case of car rental or in case of employee transportation, anyway, people were not traveling. So there was no concept of work from home. From the B2B businesses standpoint, we were able to at least close some deals while working from home. So that has been a big learning. From, so at least from my standpoint, I was always a believer of the fact that work from home is not a successful model for companies like us. But now when we were actually pushed to the wall, I think, I think it worked out very well for all of us. So I would say that, that there have been a lot of learnings. There have been some stuff that has worked right. There have been some stuff that has actually not worked right for all of us. So that's my point.
No, thank you, Vivek.